Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about the politics of quantum mechanics and how they relate to presumptive nominee uh, Joe Biden, who is also who is a guaranteed loss for the Blues in November, and a huge problem for everyone who wants the Democrats to win in November. And we're also going to talk about not the presumptive nominee, but the hopeful nominee, Andrew Yang, our only remaining hope. If he unsuspends, we have a chance at beating Donald Trump because we have somebody who has the charisma, who has the intelligence, and who has the nobility to actually stand as a useful candidate who truly stands for what modern Democrats are today, which is charismatic, intelligent, and noble, and actually would be able to complete the job, to do the 8 years that the job demands, and that 70 that Joe Biden is promising he could be president until he was 86 years old, which how many people believe that right now? I'm not sure there's anybody who believes that right now. I don't even think Joe Biden believes that right now, as there were multiple news stories floated that he had talked to his team that he wouldn't run for fourth, but had no courage to say that publicly, to run for a second term. So with that said, it's needed to talk about quantum mechanics. Now, why do we need to talk about quantum mechanics? What does it have to do with politics? Well, quantum mechanics has a lot to do with quantum mechanics has a lot to do with politics, American politics, the 2020 U.S. primary presidential race, and the reason why is it has become a major theme of one of the top television shows on today, which is called Devs. So Devs is on Hulu. Hulu is owned by Disney. Disney is a hair's breadth away from American Steel. Actually, it's more important than American Steel. Disney is far more important than American Steel. I think, I'm almost certain their budget is multiples of whatever American Steel is today. Also, what Disney supplies cannot be gotten anywhere in the world, whereas steel can be gotten. No one can create or do what Disney does. Every country combined could not make a Disney movie, a single Disney movie. Every other country on Earth could not make a movie that equaled a Disney film. In fact, they never have. Right? If you take any of the top 10 movies, there's well over half of them are Disney films, and there's no other. I'm not sure there's even a single billion-dollar film made by any other country in the world. In fact, I'm positive of it. There isn't a single non-American billion-dollar film. Not one. Not every other country in the world can do a layup for a Disney layup, which is a billion-dollar film. Disney is trying for $2 and $3 billion films, while every other country on the planet tries to make what they do as a layup every month, right? So you can tell, entertainment is critical to American politics, and Disney is now in direct business of talking about quantum mechanics, the base nature of reality. Okay, so we're going to talk about the three most prominent theories and interpretations of quantum mechanics, and we're also going to talk about the Garibay interpretation of quantum mechanics. Because I've read all the relevant material on these theories and interpretations, and they gave me more than enough confidence to make my own quantum mechanics interpretation. Let's do this. All right. So the next three quantum mechanic theories and interpretations are all theories of and interpretations that are in the show Devs, which is an eight episode American series, which is absolutely fantastic. It's 5 out of 5 stars. Spoiler: there are spoilers in this content for the series 2020 Devs, which is a Disney series. Okay, doesn't have the Disney brand on it, but they own it and they are distributing it. All right, so Devs is really a Disney story. Let's do it. All right, the first of the quantum mechanic theories is the Broglie-Bohm Theory. Now, the Broglie-Bohm Theory is a quantum mechanics theory, and a quantum mechanics theory is a scientific attempt to explain the nature of reality. So let's get into it. So the Broglie-Bohm Theory breaks down the nature of reality into three facets: actuality, change, and source. First of all, and so I'm going to tell you what those values are, and then I'm going to interpret this theory through Schrodinger's cat, and we'll be doing a presentation for each one of these theories or interpretations by putting it through the exercise of Schrodinger's cat, so that you can see the differences from them. So de Broglie-Bohm theory says that reality has three facets: actuality, change, and source. It says that actuality is false. It says that change is deterministic, and it says that the source is non-local. Let me present this to you through Schrodinger's cat. So here's Schrodinger's cat experiment. There's a cat, there's a box, there is a bottle of poison, there is a Geiger counter. If the Geiger counter reads radiation, it cracks, then the box cracks the flask of poison, and the cat dies. If it does not read radiation, the cat remains alive in the box, which is opaque. Okay? All right. So for de Broglie-Bohm, it deals with Schrodinger's cat in the following way. It says that there will be a real cat and a non-real cat. This doesn't have to do with it being alive or dead. It's saying that one of these situations will be real and the other one will be non-real. It will be in a position of non-reality. Okay? So it allows non-reality. That means that reality can be false. It recognizes positions of material that is not real. Okay? So there's a real cat and a non-real cat, right? And so what determines that? Well, let's talk about determinism. Okay, so de Broglie-Bohm theory is deterministic. It says that the dead cat or the alive cat, those are the two outcomes, the two options, the two outcomes. The dead or the alive cat is all that can be. So when we have a dead cat or a live cat, that is the real cat, whether it's real dead or real alive. That is the real cat, and the other outcome that did not occur is a non-real outcome. It never manifested. Okay, but de Broglie-Bohm says that this is determined. It can only be the way it turns out. There is no randomness in this. And so let's talk about non-local. The effect, which is the dead cat, the effect, which is all of those material elements, and then what happens to the cat. Actually, what happens to the cat is the effect. And it can come from a non-immediate cause. And that non-immediate cause is observation. Observation. It is part of the path to the cat state, whether it's alive or dead. But the observation interaction is set. It is unchangeable. It is determined. Okay? So that is de Broglie-Bohm theory. It says that reality can be false. Reality can have a false actuality. It is deterministic, and its source for effect can be non-local. Observation. Observation is incredibly important in quantum mechanics, and the reason why is quantum mechanics claims to be a science, but observation is almost completely immeasurable from the perspective of science. And there are entire tracks, attributes, aspects of consciousness, of observation, that is completely untouched by modern science. So observation consciousness is a huge problem for quantum mechanics. Almost all of these theories deal with observation in one way or another. Let's talk about the Everett Interpretation. The Everett Interpretation you have heard and seen on many, many, many television shows. The Everett Interpretation is the many worlds interpretation. It says that the nature of reality is that it has a true actuality, only true actuality. It is again deterministic in its change, but its source is local. Let's go through Schrodinger's cat. Everett's interpretation, the many world interpretation, says that there will be a real live cat and a real dead cat, and there will be no non-real states. Okay, there is both a real live cat and a real dead cat. Okay, It is deterministic. It is saying that both of these must happen and will happen. And there is no randomness. There will be a dead cat. There will be a live cat. There is no randomness. This effect of a dead cat or a live cat comes only from immediate causes. The radiation, the Geiger counter, the box. They are all that is necessary for the cat to be alive and dead. Okay? And that the observer doesn't mean anything, is not even necessary in the Everett interpretation. Okay? All right. Very, very interesting interpretation. All right. Let's talk about the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation. The von Neumann-Wigner interpretation is fascinating. It says that this is the nature of reality. That actuality is irrelevant. Okay? That change is random. And here we go. We've just been talking about deterministicness. And so we've talked about two theories that were deterministic. Here we see a theory that says randomness can be here. Okay? And that's truly important, because if a human being signs on to either of the past theories, they are not responsible for their actions, because the cause demanded that would happen. There was no ability for there to be anything else that happens. And both deterministics say that really humanity has no choice. Their causes are immediate. They say that there really is no choice. Everything is determined. There is no randomness. But von Neumann-Wigner actually denies that and goes against that and says there can be randomness. There can be randomness. And its source is non-local. Let's go through Schrodinger's cat. So for von Neumann-Wigner, that's two different scientists, von Neumann and Wigner, they both say that actuality, a real cat, a non-real cat, is completely irrelevant. It does not matter if the cats are real. Okay? It says it's random. So when it is observed, it can be one dead cat or one alive cat when the observation occurs. And if the observation never occurs, there are equally unlikely outcomes. So basically, it doesn't deal with reality, if the cats are real or not at all. It really doesn't. It says it doesn't matter if they're real or not. It's irrelevant whether they're real or not. And what will occur is one dead cat or one alive cat, or without observation, it doesn't even matter if those cats are real or unreal, as they shift between their different options and states, right? But it also says there can be a non-local effect, that the effect can come from a non-immediate cause. So von Neumann-Wigner acknowledges the strangeness of observation and says not only can observation is observation relevant to what's happening and can affect and change what's happening, it's saying that that observation can actually affect it, and observation is relevant to the question. Now you've heard the top three most relevant quantum mechanics theories and interpretations. I've read the relevant material on these, and I've done that as I was watching Devs. Devs has been fantastic. I've been watching it for about a month or two now, and that show invites the viewer to explore quantum mechanics, which I've done. So having done that, I feel thoroughly confident in presenting to you Garibay's interpretation. All right. So what is Garibay's interpretation of reality? Well, I say that the nature of reality is that actuality is true, never false. That change is absolutely random, and that the source can be non-local. So let's look at Schrodinger's cat. A real cat, or there will be a real cat or a dead cat. Whichever happens is real, and the other position, the other outcome never existed. It was there is no non-real false state. There is only true actual reality. Okay? So it is a real cat or a real live cat or a real dead cat. Okay? Random. It can be one dead cat, one live cat, or one glass cat. And you're like, wait, what? A glass cat? How could that occur? Well, I say that the effect, the alive cat or the dead cat or the cat being glass, can come from a non-immediate cause. That non-immediate cause can be observation or the supernatural. And you're like, wait, aren't we talking about science? Yes, we are. Here's why I include the supernatural. It is pure semantics from these quantum mechanic experts to say that observation is anything but supernatural. If you cannot explain the vast majority of attributes, aspects, and functionality of observation, then saying that it is material, which one of these interpretations does, or saying that it's irrelevant, or saying or ignoring the fact that it absolutely slips past almost every single measuring device of science, and that consciousness and observation are virtually completely unexplained by science, right? Even as it has to be a major element of science when you're dealing with quantum mechanics, then the reality is supernatural is already introduced. So basically, von Neumann has an excuse, right? But de Broglie doesn't. De Broglie acknowledges observation. Von Neumann is, and actually von Neumann acknowledges observation, and then actually only the many worlds gets away with it, because they are saying observation is not relevant, not part of it. All right, now we have talked about all of the interpretations, all of the theories. Let's talk about the politics, okay? So one, this is very much a part of American politics right now, because our largest entertainment company in America that drives literally well over 100,000 jobs, and maybe 1 million jobs, right, is coming from one of the New American Steel. I will say without hesitation, Disney is the New American Steel. They are the pinnacle of our industry, okay? And our real industry now is exporting cool to the world, which we do through entertainment, okay? All right. Now, what is really important about the politics, is we have to know where our presumptive nominee and where our hopeful nominee stand on these. And so I will tell you which of these go with which candidate. All right. So which of these captures Joe Biden's belief in reality and what reality is? Okay. None of them. I don't think that Joe Biden has spent 5 minutes thinking about quantum mechanics. You know how I know that? Because he promised to cure cancer as soon as he is elected president, which means he knows nothing of science. The idea that he's going to cure a disease which has eluded being cured for millennia, right, in his 4 to 8 years, means that he has no understanding, no care, or any, he doesn't care about science in any way. If you can look the American public in the face and promise to cure cancer, you're telling America you don't care two licks for science. And that tells me that I don't think Joe Biden has ever thought for 5 minutes about quantum mechanics. It's just another reason on the incredibly long list of reasons why Joe Biden should not be our next president, and why you should not vote for him. All right. So where does Andrew Yang, our hopeful nominee, come in? Well, Andrew Yang, I think, would sign on to specifically the Everett interpretation. I believe that he would believe in the many world theory, the many world interpretation over any of the other interpretations. He has said that he is spiritual, but not religious, and essentially he is very much a man of science. He can talk at length about almost any area of science because he's so outrageously intelligent. So I think Andrew Yang is a many worlds Everett interpretation follower, and I think that this is a far better stance to be on than Joe Biden's quantum what? I'm sorry, I can't think about quantum mechanics. I need to cure cancer. Oh, and maybe I'll have some time to look at that whole COVID thing too. I don't know, right? So clearly, if you look at quantum mechanics and you look how these would map to our current candidates, you see another reason why Andrew Yang needs to unsuspend immediately, and why Joe Biden needs to drop out immediately, turn every delegate he has into ash, and allow the Democrats to actually get a candidate who can finish the job, which is 8 years in the presidency, handing off to their vice president, because we now understand the power of incumbency And what Joe Biden did in 2016, which was drop the ball and not use his incumbency, can never, ever be done by any Democrat ever again, because we've seen what happens, which is Donald Trump. All that, and only that, only this presentation exists. But your comment can be random. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. And I'd love to hear which theory interpretation you believe is the most correct and which one would help American politics the most. Thank you once again for letting me share these thoughts with you today. Check out Devs. It is amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. It is honestly the best thing on television right now on the small screen. Check it out. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.